All right, how do I put this? Look, any of you who are trying to be good enough, or you're trying to, get right with God or work into God's favor, you're doing it wrong. You're not entering through the gate. Remember the parable of the tax collector. The tax collector is justified because he instead looks at himself, beats his chest, and admits that he's a sinner in need of God's mercy. That's the mindset that everybody following God needs to always maintain, no matter how much they change. Only God is good. Only God is perfect. Even the apostles, for as far as they went, still said, "Oh, have fear and trembling," because only God is good. Do you see this? You're not under the law of sin, because the penalty of sin is death. You know what I mean? And damnation. So instead, you're under the law of grace. You can't abandon grace. People do this all the time. When they are law preachers and law followers, they are the self trying to be good enough. Okay, when they're the Sunday preacher who's like, everything's hung on the cross, we don't ever need to change, they become deceived, and they'll tell you things like I've heard, like, do whatever you want. No. They'll tell you things like that. And they'll still keep thinking Halloween's a good idea, and they just simp to culture. So many Sunday preachers, and become deceived. And then so many people, they're so down in their feelings. They have no rejoicing energy. They're so like, they have so much wussitis, these days. So many, that's because they're trying to be good enough. And they're like, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Exactly. You're not good enough. Admit it. No one's good enough. No one is good. Only God is good. Enter through the gate. That's how you can grow with the Spirit. Keep on beating your own chest and admitting that you're a fallen and sinner. See, so many religious people, they're like, I'm going to escape all sins. I'm no longer a sinner. Haha. And they've exited the faith at that point. They have exited the faith. You realize that? They have strayed away from grace. They have forgotten their place. Their humility is gone. It's now pride. So all over this app and in life, there's people, and they really truly think that they're good or good enough. Even Jesus said only God is good. I mean, you know how much freedom there is in admitting that and knowing that and being able to grow along those lines and admit that you're not good enough? That's how you grow with the Spirit. That takes humility. And most religious people, it seems that they have no real humility. The overly religious people, no, they don't. So I see full well why it is that Jesus abandons the religious people and he just goes and talks to the sinners. Because think about it. Those first fishermen, they had humility immediately. They fell at his feet and were like, oh, flee from me. I'm not worthy. Not worthy of you. I'm a sinner. This blah, blah. That's what God is actually looking for. That's what God is looking for, is the humility of people to admit that they're not enough and not good enough. That's when you will grow with the Spirit. And anyone else, they try to be like Jesus, more Christ-like. Ooh, they become this prudish, snobbish person who's like, oh, the enemy thought he had me, but Jesus said you're mine. And what they mean by that is that they're just ridiculous now. And they're like, I'm closing off everyone else because, no, blah, 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 blah. When Paul went around and he was like, to the sinners, I became like a sinner. You understand? To those under the law, I became like those under the law. Because it's so hard for people to understand what it means to enter through the gate. Who is the gate? Do you understand? So many of you don't understand. So many people don't understand. All right, goodbye.